The Giza Plateau is not merely an archaeological site, it is a symbol of human ingenuity, belief, and ambition immortalized. With its fascinating mysteries, it stands as one of the most remarkable and enigmatic places in human history. The enigmatic face of the Sphinx and the underground chambers of the pyramids represent an ancient marvel of engineering, filled with secrets that offer endless opportunities for discovery to researchers and adventurers alike. In ancient Egypt, the underworld played a crucial role in the transition to the afterlife. These underground tunnels may have been part of rituals designed to aid the deceased in their passage to the next world. The underground structures at Giza mostly consisted of burial chambers prepared for pharaohs and their close associates. Ancient Egyptians placed immense importance on the afterlife, constructing tombs and tunnels to ease the transition into the underworld. Burial chambers contained the pharaoh's valuable belongings, mummies, and protective spells. Many underground chambers were interconnected by intricate tunnels, symbolizing the journey to the afterlife. The construction of Giza's underground tombs required advanced engineering skills. During that time, stone cutting and excavation techniques were highly developed. Using durable materials such as limestone and granite, workers carved the tombs and tunnels. The depth and complexity of the tombs necessitated the development of ventilation and lighting systems to enable workers to operate underground. To protect their tombs from looters, pharaohs concealed the burial chambers and constructed elaborate tunnel systems. Some burial chambers were connected by multiple corridors, many of which were designed to terminate at determined lengths. The tombs were sealed with heavy stone covers to deter grave robbers. Additionally, stones were piled up in some tunnels within the tombs to block access. The tombs were excavated deep beneath the surface and constructed in layered formations. Each layer included various structures, such as burial chambers, corridors, and storage areas. This layered design symbolized the soul's journey through various stages toward reaching the afterlife. Iamblichus, a Syrian Neoplatonist philosopher who lived between AD 245 and 325, recorded information about an entrance passage leading from the body of the Sphinx to the Great Pyramid. He wrote, "This entrance, now obstructed by sand and debris, can still be traced between the front paws of the crouching colossal statue. In ancient times, it was sealed by a bronze door that could only be opened by a magician through a hidden mechanism. It was safeguarded by the people's reverence, and a kind of religious awe protected it more effectively than any armed guard. Inside the Sphinx's body, galleries were carved leading to the underground section of the Great Pyramid. These galleries were so intricately wound toward the pyramid that anyone attempting to traverse them without a guide would find themselves continuously returning to their starting point." Iamblichus recorded a fascinating story found in a very ancient Egyptian papyrus located in a mosque in Cairo. This narrative, dating back to 100 BC and part of a story by an unknown author, described a group of people who entered the underground chambers around Giza in search of discoveries. They recounted their experience as follows. "We entered a room. As we stepped inside, it was illuminated by a light emanating from a thin tube standing vertically in the corner, about the height of a man's hand. The closer we got to the tube, the brighter it shone. Terrified, the slaves fled back the way we had come. When I touched the tube, the light went out. Despite all our efforts, we couldn't make it shine again. In some rooms, the light tubes worked. In others, they did not. We broke one of the tubes, and tiny silver-colored liquid particles spilled out. flowing quickly across the floor until they disappeared into the cracks. Over time, these light tubes gradually began to fail. The priests removed them and stored them in an underground vault specially constructed in the southeastern part of the plateau. It was believed that these light tubes were created by the beloved Imhotep, and that one day he would return to reactivate them. Researchers have often stated that the wicks of these perpetual lamps were believed to be made of woven or braided asbestos, referred to as salamander wool by early alchemists. Additionally, it has been suggested that the fuel for these lamps was likely one of the products of alchemical research conducted at the temple on Mount Sinai. It is claimed that various formulas for producing fuel for the lamps have been preserved. Blavatsky described this fuel as follows: "Once made and ignited, it will burn with a perpetual flame, and you can place this lamp wherever you wish. When made and lighted, will burn with a perpetual flame, and you may set this lamp in any place where you please." Émile Barrès, a French engineer and archaeologist, conducted significant restoration and excavation work in Egypt between 1925 and 1936. One of his most notable undertakings was directing the restoration and preservation of the Great Sphinx, a project that lasted 11 years. At the time, the Sphinx was almost entirely buried in sand, with only its head visible. Barrés's mission involved clearing the sand from the structure, repairing the damage, and protecting it from environmental factors. Barrès conducted detailed research on the monument, producing accurate drawings and plans for future restoration efforts. He also restored damaged sections of the statue and implemented protective measures. One of Barrés's most significant contributions was stabilizing the Sphinx's body, which had suffered extensive erosion over centuries. He supervised the construction of a concrete foundation beneath the statue to provide additional support and prevent further deterioration. During his work, Barrès rediscovered, investigated, and repaired several holes and tunnels in the Sphinx, including those located behind the statue and atop its head. Over the course of 11 years, he cleared the surrounding sand, revealing the entire body of the Sphinx. He also restored damaged sections of the statue and implemented protective measures. However, ancient records suggest that a vast system of chambers lies beneath the surface around the Sphinx and the pyramids. These claims were supported in 1993 when a seismic survey of the area revealed the presence of a large cavity. In 1994, Egyptian authorities confirmed another discovery, which was reported in a newspaper under the headline, "The Mysterious Tunnel in the Sphinx." The article stated, "Workers repairing the ailing Sphinx have discovered an ancient passage leading deep into the body of the mysterious monument." The Giza Antiquities chief, Mr. Zahi Hawass, said there was no dispute the tunnel was very old. However, what is puzzling is, who built the passage, why, and where does it lead? Mr. Hawass said he had no plans to remove the stones blocking the entrance. The secret tunnel burrows into the northern side of the Sphinx, about halfway between the Sphinx's outstretched paws and its tail. These descriptions, spanning newspaper reports and even statements by excavation officials, provide compelling evidence of the existence of hidden tunnels. But why were these tunnels so significant during the ancient Egyptian period, and why do they remain a subject of intrigue even today? Some researchers propose that unlocking these tunnels might reveal discoveries capable of rewriting Egyptian history. Osiris, the god of death, the underworld, and the afterlife in ancient Egyptian mythology, is a symbol deeply tied to subterranean structures. Among the most famous of these is the Osiris tomb, located within Giza's underground complexes. This structure lies in a water-filled chamber and is believed to be dedicated to Pharaoh Osiris. In 2018, Dr. Kathy J. Forty visited the Osiris tomb and shared her observations. In the darkness, we were led to an iron-gated entry under the causeway between the pyramids. The inspector handed me the key and allowed me the honor of opening this secret doorway. In the past, they referred to this hidden place as that shaft complex. They now officially call it the Osiris Shaft. A few steps inside the heavy gate, there is a square hole in the ground. The inspector pointed to an iron ladder leading down this first shaft. From what I could see in the darkness, it didn't look all that sturdy, and I had no idea how old or maintained it was. I was told there were 3 lower levels, the last leading to the water tunnels more than 125 feet below ground. The first level opened to a spacious but empty room. The air felt close and dusty, the temperature much warmer with little outside ventilation. I continued my descent to the second level, the longest, where the lighting was low, lit by a single bulb hanging from the ceiling, which someone had thought to put in place years ago. I stepped down and turned to find a chamber room with 7 niches for 7 large sarcophagi. Only 2 black basalt and granite sarcophagi were still there, both empty with their heavy lids slightly ajar. They had to weigh several tons. I wondered how they had managed to remove the other 5 sarcophagi, if they indeed existed. I was told this chamber was for the favored ones, the guardians, which tended to be the highest of priests. It is less well known that this Osiris shaft was actually discovered as early as 1933 to 34 by famed Egyptologist Dr. Selim Hassan. I looked down the last shaft and saw water was up to the last rung of the ladder leading to the 3rd underground chamber. It is known that as early as 1934, the 3rd chamber was already underwater. Dr. Selim Hassan tried to clear the chamber, but after 4 years of pumping, the water level had not descended. This chamber is known to flood, and this year the water had mysteriously risen higher than expected. The authorities have no idea why this is occurring, nor the source of the water. The Nile, which flows north and is considered to be the largest river in the world, is approximately 5 miles east of the Giza Plateau. I climbed down to a narrow ledge and got my first look at this mysterious chamber. The energy down there feels electrified. The air even feels cleaner. The water is clear, but filled with silt and some debris. A rotting wood platform structure leans off to the right of the chamber, probably left behind from Dr. Hassan's day. And then I saw it, a stone slab cover to a sarcophagus buried just beneath the water's surface. There were undecipherable markings on the slab, a crisscross of deeply carved lines and some symbols. There are those who believe this to be the tomb of the god Osiris, which is why they refer to it as the Osiris Shaft. However, my inside sources reveal it to be anything but a tomb. My magnetometer had a higher reading than the norm, suggesting something else entirely. One of my sources, an expert timeline reader, claims it is a dimensional portal that only those that have the correct DNA can ever hope to open. It's hermetically sealed by some form of ancient technology process. Interesting, if true. The Giza inspector confirmed it had never been opened, which one would find odd unless they had already tried to open it and had been unsuccessful. The water looked to be about mid-thigh on a man, but could be deeper in parts further back. While the water down there is relatively clear, there exists a hodgepodge of construction debris from earlier explorers' broken stones, scattered wooden slats, some papyrus strips, and a strange white filmy substance on the water in several places. I wasn't sure of the bacteria levels, so I put on plastic gloves and filled up sterile containers with water samples. I had come prepared. As I crouched down to obtain my samples, my Mina House hotel key card literally leapt out of my backpack. Instead of falling by my feet as physics would allow, the card bizarrely flew out across a short span of water and onto the top of the stone sarcophagus. One couldn't help but feel there were some unseen observers down there that day, observing our entry into their watery crypt. The Giza inspector used a wood strip to attempt to retrieve my key card, but the card slid down further into the silt where it will probably remain forever. Someday, someone will find it and wonder who it belonged to. It felt like I was meant to leave something personal behind. How ironic that it was to be my room key. Off to the left of the cavern area is a tunnel entrance, leading to other tunnels that may extend for miles, linking other pyramid sites. The Egyptian authorities suspect there to be artifacts hidden under the water, possibly a treasure trove of information as well, which the Egyptian government has been reluctant to fully explore. There is always the possibility that what they find may predate Egyptian culture, disproving the accepted timeline of history. It might reveal instead an earlier pre-dynastic culture, which some scholars have referred to as the Atlantic period, relating to those who fled a catastrophic flood event on Earth and brought advanced knowledge to the Egyptian lands to preserve it from future global destruction. These Atlanteans may indeed be the true builders of the ancient pyramids. It may be that the water tunnel system was built prior to the actual building of the pyramids. If the Great Pyramid was indeed intended as some kind of ancient power plant, as some physicists and engineers have theorized, then it would indeed need water to generate power. Perhaps the locations for all great pyramids around the world are based on a water need. In 2015, with the aid of electric tridimensional tomography, scientists discovered a lake and caverns run underneath the Yucatan's Kukulkan Pyramid at Chichen Itza. This water source connected both east and west of the pyramid. Did the Mayans have knowledge of this body of water before building their pyramid? Is underground water a prerequisite for all pyramid building? When you think of pyramids, most people think only of those in Egypt and Middle America. However, every continent has them, regardless of the fact that they often are not recognized by the scientific establishment. I was curious to know what an analysis of the water samples I took from under the Giza Plateau might show, if anything. I enlisted a certified water analysis lab in California to run a series of tests, then called a friend of mine, who is an organic chemist, for his analysis of the test results. The tests showed something I hadn't expected. The water report showed highest concentrate of sodium, followed by chloride. The percentages displayed a sodium level which is higher than the fresh water of the Nile River and lower than the salinity of the Mediterranean Sea, which the Nile flows into, which means the water that runs under the Giza Plateau is essentially salt water. I wondered if there might be any inorganic salts in the rock walls, which could have leached into the water. My chemist friend thought that unlikely due to the indigenous rock in the area. So where is this salt water coming from? Consulting a map, the only known saltwater lake in Egypt is Lake Moeris, which is 50 miles southwest of Cairo. Lake Moeris is an ancient man-made lake in the northwest area of the Fayum Oasis. In prehistory, it was once a freshwater lake with an area estimated to vary between 490 to 656 miles. Today, it is a smaller saltwater lake called Birket Karun. The lake's surface is 140 feet below sea level and covers about 78 square miles. It is unknown when Lake Moeris turned from freshwater to seawater, or the cause. Lake Moeris is also the site of the Hawara Pyramid Complex. Ancient Greek legends tell of a hidden above ground and below ground pyramid complex at Hawara known as the Labyrinth that contained 12 great halls. Ancient writings spoke of these 12 large chambers, which in modern day would be several times the size of football fields. As with many controversial sites, the Egyptian government is not allowing excavation there. Researchers Dr. Carmen Bolter and Klaus Dona are using space-based technology to penetrate the Hawara complex for underground anomalies. What they found is mind-boggling. Multiple levels of huge chambers and what looks like a complex of either an underground city or perhaps an ancient storage bunker. It's possible this could be the depository of ancient and advanced knowledge the Atlanteans hid behind in the event of a future global catastrophe. The water tunnels under the Giza Plateau may also have a dual purpose in carrying out ritual enactments on the journey to the underworld. The second level of the Osiris shaft may be the symbolic sarcophagi of the 7 guardians, and the third level, the ascension portal to the underworld. As always, there is so much going on below the surface. As above, so below. It is a well-known secret that an ancient city may exist underneath the pyramids, much like Hawara. It was well documented in the past by early Egyptian archaeologists, some who supposedly stumbled onto entrances. However, the Egyptian authorities deny and often ridicule anyone attempting to verify this hidden subterranean city. As Dr. Kathy J. Forty's observations suggest, the secrets of Giza's underground tunnels remain unresolved. Herodotus's accounts of subterranean passages connecting the Great Pyramids are supported by other ancient writers. Some sources claim that Herodotus's descriptions go beyond traditional Egyptian history. The 4th century Roman historian Ammianus Marcellinus noted the existence of underground vaults within the Great Pyramid. Inscriptions which the ancients asserted were engraved on the walls of certain underground galleries and passages were constructed deep in the dark interior to preserve ancient wisdom from being lost in the flood. A manuscript compiled by an Arab writer named Al-Talimsani is preserved in the British Museum, and it records the existence of a long square underground passage between the Great Pyramid and the River Nile with a strange thing blocking the Nile entrance. He related the following episode. In the days of Ahmed ben Tulun, a party entered the Great Pyramid through the tunnel and found in a side chamber a goblet of glass of rare color and texture. As they were leaving, they missed one of the party, and upon returning to seek him, he came out to them naked and laughing said, "Do not follow or seek for me," and then rushed back into the pyramid. His friends perceived that he was enchanted. Upon learning about strange happenings under the pyramid, Ahmed ben Tulun expressed a desire to see the goblet of glass. During the examination, it was filled with water and weighed, then emptied and reweighed. The historian wrote that it was found to be of the same weight when empty as when full of water. In recent years, research conducted beneath the Giza Plateau has revealed many previously unknown tunnels and chambers. Specifically, radar scans have shown the presence of undiscovered voids and potential burial chambers beneath the Great Pyramids. A radar survey conducted in 2017 uncovered a large void within the Great Pyramid, but the purpose of this void remains unclear. Some theorists suggest that the underground tunnels of Giza are not only burial chambers, but also secret rooms where knowledge was preserved. According to these theories, ancient Egyptian priests might have used these tunnels and chambers to communicate with extraterrestrial beings. While these theories are not scientifically supported, they add to the mysterious aura surrounding the underground structures. Legends claim that beneath the pyramids of Giza lies a gateway to the underworld with many tunnels and chambers. Some myths suggest the existence of ancient temples and underground cities beneath the pyramids. Much of these places remains undiscovered. The ancient Egyptians used various texts to guide the journey of the soul after death. These texts describe how the soul would encounter gates and obstacles while traveling through the underworld. Each gate was guarded by gods, and the soul needed to know specific prayers or passwords to pass through. The underground structures of Giza have not yet been fully explored. The voids beneath the Great Pyramid, deeper tunnel systems, and potentially undiscovered burial chambers suggest that this region may reveal even more secrets in the future. See you in the next video.